Eastern Congo, one of Africa's most unstable areas, reached a new tipping point. The M23, once a small rebel group, now controls key cities, changing the region's power balance. But beyond the fighting, there is a bigger question. What's behind this movement?
Le Congo restera un et indivisible.
At the center are the region's rich resources: cobalt, gold and tin. The answers are more complex than anyone expects.
Other people does not have job.
We are in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a region where political and military struggles have been ongoing for decades. Fighting between armed groups and government forces has forced tens of thousands to flee, creating growing humanitarian crisis. In this documentary, we will take you to the front lines of this crisis, speaking to those affected, families forced from the homes, aid workers struggling to help, and those still fighting for peace. For more than 25 years, North Kivu has been trapped in a cycle of conflict. Rebel groups rise and fall, foreign interests pull invisible strings, and the people, the ordinary people, are left to survive in the spaces between bullets and broken promises.
DRC today is a failed state. For political reasons, there is no more opposition. All the world know that Congo should be a very rich country, but it's a poor country whereby all the people are starving. No food, no education, no roads, no infrastructure.
In January 2025, M23 armed group made a decisive move, capturing Goma, the capital of mineral-rich North Kivu, accusing the DRC president Felix Tshisekedi of poor leadership. By February, they seized Bukavu, the strategic capital of South Kivu. Their momentum continued as they advanced westward, taking the key town of Walikale, 400 kilometers from Kisangani, the country's fourth largest city. With this, they seized the key road linking four provinces, cutting off army positions and expanding their influence across eastern Congo. 2 weeks later, M23 withdrawn from Walikale.
We are going to see whether M23 will withdraw from Walikale and whether M23 will give priority to dialogue and peace. So we hope that this will be translated into concrete action.
To support peace initiatives aimed at fostering conditions conducive to political dialogue addressing the root causes of the conflict. In the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the Alliance Fleuve Congo has decided to reposition its forces from the town of Walikale and its surrounding areas.
With years of violent conflict in eastern Congo, whitening heavily on both sides, the peace talks offer a fragile hope for peace. But after decades of tension and distrust, can these talks truly bring an end to the bloodshed? And what is M23 fighting for?
What is our objective? Our objective is the refoundation of states. There's no army, there's no police, there is administration corruption, and there's no justice. Because these are the political issues we should have sort them out without fighting. But this man of Tshisekedi, the only language he hears is just a weapon.
Les forces de défense du Rwanda, en soutien de leurs marionnettes du M23, poursuivent leur entreprise terroriste sur notre territoire, semant la terreur et la désolation parmi nos populations. Je partage avec vous la douleur et l'indignation face à ces attaques barbares. Ces actes ne sont pas seulement une attaque contre la République, mais une offense à l'histoire et à la dignité de notre peuple. En ces moments difficiles, je vous appelle à la résilience et surtout à la résistance.
The formation of M23 in 2012 stemmed from the region's turbulent history. After the 1994 Rwandan genocide, Hutu militants fled to eastern Congo, intensifying ethnic tensions with the Tutsi. The DRC became a battleground in the Second Congo War. And in 2006, the CNDP was formed to protect Tutsis. But broken peace deals led to discontent. In 2012, former CNDP fighters formed M23, named after the March 23rd peace agreement.
And this has its roots in the colonial history of this region. This region was divided up into countries through a process that happened in Berlin in 1984, 1885, where these European countries decided that they would, draw arbitrary borders across communities. These communities that speak in Rwanda, like we do in Rwanda, found themselves in the DRC, but they have never been granted their rights as citizens. Members of the M23 are fighting for their right to live in their country, to live in their communities, and the right not to be discriminated against.
Muri Congo navuye ndi umwana imyaka 13 ngera mu Rwanda mpunze icyankuye muri Congo n'ubwicanyi adukorerwaga nk'abantu bavuga ikinyarwanda b'abatutsi batwita ngo turi abatutsi bakatwica bakatubaga bakaturya inyama bakazirya z'umuntu.
They are the one that
The situation in Goma and the wider region of eastern DRC is indeed dire. The last escalation in January has led to a breakdown in almost all forms of normal economic activity. Once a bustling hub connecting Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to the world, today Goma International Airport stands eerily silent. A stark reminder of intense fighting that gripped this region. The conflict has turned this place into the war zone with a lot of mines around, cutting the city from the rest of the country. With airport shut down, supplies cannot get in. Humanitarian aid operation has been crippled. This airport was a lifeline used to deliver food, medicine, and evacuate wounded. Now it's just another casualty of war.
This airport has been sabotaged by the DRC National Army in accordance with the allies, the mercenary, East European mercenary, FDLR, and you have South African forces as well. The United Nations, MONUSCO, they are neighbors. So while Kinshasa forces were attacking the civilian under the Operation Springbok and support they have to DRC government forces, this is unacceptable. The United Nations organizations such as MONUSCO should be impartial.
In areas controlled by M23, including parts of North Kivu and the city of Goma, the United Nations peacekeeping mission continues to face serious restrictions on its freedom of movement. These include roadblocks and a 48-hour notification requirement for its movement.
MONUSCO bases are under threats, but also in some cases they have been under threat in terms of the presence of disarmed FARDC soldiers. And I want to really again call for the full respect of the inviolability of our UN premises.
However, recent developments indicate that the M23 is temporarily allowing some flexibility. United Nations vehicles and equipment have been permitted to cross into the Democratic Republic of Congo. and civilian personnel are allowed to cross the border one per day to combat the M23.
The mission has maintained its presence in Goma, including through its operations at the international airport of Goma, where it has been able to resupply its bases with the support of MONUSCO military escort. Nonetheless, the mission continues to engage with M23 AFC to facilitate the implementation of its mandate and ensure respect for international humanitarian law.
As the crisis in eastern DRC intensifies, Rwanda is accused of secretly backing the M23, despite repeated denials from Kigali.
The situation in eastern DRC is not just a situation in the DRC. It is an African situation. You pull at that thread, you pull at the thread of the whole cohesion of the African continent. And this is a threat that Rwanda and Rwanda's narrative poses, and that we also push for greater understanding of. It is threatening the stability of the entire African continent.
Members of the European Parliament were calling for the suspension of the EU's deal with Rwanda over critical raw materials, citing concerns about Rwanda's alleged role in fueling the conflict in eastern DRC.
EU defense consultations with Rwanda have been suspended. There's also a political decision to implement the sanctions dependent on the situation on the ground. We have urged Rwanda to withdraw its troops, and the memorandum of understanding regarding critical raw materials will be under a review.
Rwanda is being accused by supporting M23 in this particular situation. What will be your response for that?
If the accusations mean that we understand what the M23 is fighting for, what they've been fighting for, and their grievances for more than 3 years against their government, yes, we understand. We don't seek to change borders. They're never going to be changed. This is a principle of the African Union. Rwanda has no expansionist agenda or ambitions. We are most concerned about our security.
Are we backed up by Rwanda? No, I don't think so. There is no Rwandese in our force. We have our own reason why we are fighting, and we are Congolese.
In January, France proposed a draft resolution to the United Nations Security Council aimed at increasing pressure on Rwanda to withdraw its troops from eastern DRC. The resolution was unanimously adopted on March 23, condemning offensives by M23.
MONUSCO remains fully committed to implementing its mandate as set out by the Resolution 2765 of the United Nations Security Council. Despite the challenging security and political environment, in the face of the continued advance of the Alliance for Congo and the movement of March 23, supported by the Rwandan Defense Forces in North Kivu.
EU ministers agreed a list of sanctions against Rwandan military commanders and members of M23 group. In a significant escalation of diplomatic tensions, Rwanda has severe ties with Belgium, accusing the European nation of undermining Kigali and the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I think those who have been sanctioning Rwanda, this one-sided sanction, they are really missing the point, because we're not going to be blackmailed into compromising our national security with the threat of sanctions.
We don't have any bank account, but this is the population of North Kivu and South Kivu. These are the population who are being sanctioned. But as responsible representing the state, we are looking for any alternative. Today, we have created a structure that is be the equivalent of the central bank. And we are also delivering some license to create new banks and so on.
En fait, le développement est lié à la paix. là où il n'y a pas la paix, il n'y a pas le développement. Vous allez vous rendre compte, il y a plus de 30 ans, plus de 3 décennies que ce peuple est toujours en mouvement, si je peux le dire.
Rwanda maintains that it owns no mining companies operating in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In contrast, numerous international companies, including European firms, have long held mining interests across North and South Kivu.
We don't have any mines there. We happen to be very close to Northern Kivu, for instance, so some minerals have been passing through Rwanda, including from mines that are owned by Congolese officials themselves, because we have infrastructure, we have roads, we have safety. Over the years, they preferred to pass their minerals through here because Kinshasa is very far away. Companies from all over the world, including Europe, not only North or South Kivu, and even in other provinces in the DRC. If the international community and others who are accusing us of mining, I think they need to be honest about who's really profiting from mining in the DRC.
The Democratic Republic of Congo holds the keys to the 21st century economy, a land rich in the minerals that power our phones, cars, and satellites. French Bolloré has played a major role in the DRC's transport infrastructure, managing key routes for mineral exports from the east, with Goma as a central hub. But its operations have drawn controversy, including allegations of moving illicit minerals and using corruption to secure African port deals. Accusations of bribery and influence raise troubling questions. Is this modern neocolonialism, control through contracts?
Uganda army is in DRC. South Sudan army is in DRC. In DRC today, you have Burundians, they're in DRC. You have those FDLR, the genocide group, they're in DRC. The other, the Islamic group of Uganda, they call ADF, they are all in DRC. European mercenaries, more than 3,000 they were here in Congo, in DRC. You have South Africans, they're in DRC. Tanzanians, all of them are DRC. After that, you have also all the UN mission contingents. So my question is, why do they see just Rwanda?
Despite this wealth, people in eastern DRC live in poverty. No roads, no access to basic services, and no escape from the cycle of suffering. It took us 5 hours to travel from Goma to Rubaya, a region rich in some of the world's most coveted minerals, vital components for global technology.
Là, vous voyez, c'est pour les bâches au-dessus. C'est ceux depuis. Ceux depuis là dedans, on y creuse des minerais. Pour trouver ces minéraux. Donc ceci, c'est rester dans les sables après avoir procédé à ces processus pour trouver ces minéraux. Si on va les sécher, on se peut les négocier. Ça reste à Rwanda.
In a region often plagued by conflict and instability, Rubaya offers a rare example of stability and opportunity for those who seek to work the land and trade in its valuable resources.
Il n'y a pas de militaire qui peut fréquenter ici. Il n'y a pas de taxes dans cette carrière. Aussi, ils rentrent avec leur argent, leur production, sans toutefois les tracasser, les menacer, aussi les piller.
Avant, c'était mauvais. Au moins aujourd'hui. En tout cas, il y avait beaucoup de catastrophes. la trafic de minería, le chimie, uno la contrat de bandi, la pisata.
Muri ya minsi abazarendo bari batumereye nabi harataga twaduciye bari babona nabo bakazitwaka be buno ubona ko hariho kigenda buno ntabwo twaturemo ari ngo duhure n'amabandi mu nzira ukazitwake uwo mukinyangara badutesha umutwe buno byibuze nubwo tuyatanga amafaranga ariko ntari menshi cyane.
In a bold move to stabilize the Democratic Republic of Congo, President Felix Tshisekedi has floated a minerals for security proposal, a high-stakes bargain offering access to Congo's vast mineral wealth in exchange for international military support. And that can be one of the solutions.
I think with America in this area, they are true. We need to have legitimate and responsible government so that everybody can come and do his business. They say Congo should be a free land, a free trade land. And this is what we want to come there. So our objective is to have Congo as a business land for the Congolese people reconcile themselves, but living in peace with the region, all the countries, but also giving to the world that God gave to Congo for the world.
As violence flares once more, thousands are forced to flee their homes. For many displaced people in eastern Congo, survival is a daily struggle. In eastern Congo, a devastating humanitarian crisis has forced millions, including countless children, to flee their homes. Here in the villages, daily life has been deeply affected by the ongoing conflict. Some families have stayed trying to rebuild their lives. In villages like this, the impact of instability is clear. Markets struggle to function, schools remain closed in some areas, while some residents say they feel safe under M23 control. Others fears the unpredictability of situation and the potential for escalation. In the quiet desperation of displacement, a mother speaks. Her voice carries the weight of loss, resilience, and the enduring hope of return. Beneath a roof that barely shelters, she raises her children with nothing but her strength.
Niko na watoto wasita mwa hii nyumba, sina chakula cha kuwapatia, sina na makuta ya kuwauzia chakula. Hii maisha ni ya mbaya.
Walitukimbiza kazi tukakimbia, kufika kule tena wakaturudisha huku, sasa njale na tatu.
Their journey here was not one of choice, but of survival. Their village, once a place of community and livelihood, became a place of fear. But for many women, this new place exposes them to another horror, one that leaves scars no one can see.
Ninakutana na mtu mshamba, ninaenda kutafuta chakula cha watoto ngabaacha muka, ngaenda ngakutana na mtu akanibaka, ngatoka kule ngaenda kwa mganga wakanipa dawa.
In Kimoka, around 900 internally displaced persons have sought refuge. Displaced families are sharing classroom spaces with students as the community strives to adapt to their new reality amidst the ongoing crisis.
Niko nasoma juu manake watoto wa masomo ni kukia soma, wanagunja vitu wanavitia nje, watoto wanasoma sasa wanatoka tena chuo nao wanaingia.
Even the decision to farm, an act of hope, is burdened by scarcity. Seeds, tools, and resources are out of reach. Hunger is ever present.
Nyumba tuko watu 10, kuishi kwetu maisha make ya kuteseka tu. Tunakosa chakula na kulima, tunakosa tutalima namna gani vya kukosa mbegu. Ile mateso yote tuko nayo na wasiwasi ya mwingine.
Despite the passage of time, Tutsi asylum seekers continue to flee into Rwanda from the DRC, seeking refuge from the ongoing violence and instability. One such place of refuge is a transit center in Rwanda, 30 kilometers away from the border with DRC, which has become home to nearly 14,000 asylum seekers, offering temporary shelter, aims their uncertain journey.
Nje nahunze ndi guhiga ngo ndi umututsi. Ubwo iwacu hari amadifensi y'abazarendu, y'aba FDLR, y'abanyatura. Ubwo bakoresha inama ngo abatutsi bose babahige.
Babikoraga batwita abanyarwanda ngo dutahe dusubire iwacu, ntabwo muri Kongo ari iwacu. Kubera ko turi abatutsi, ntabwo turi abakongomani.
Njyewe mpunze buno nyuma, ariko umuryango wari waraje mbere bitewe na insekirite n'ubundi umutekano muke twari dufite. Ubwo rero njye nsigara inyuma ndi mu matungo, bamaze kuzirya no kuzitema, ndangije nanjye ndahunga.
In DRC, families continue to live in fear as ongoing conflict and violence threaten their safety every day.
Iwacu ni muri Kongo mu Minembwe, haracyariyo bene wacu, ariko ubuzima babayemo ni bubi. N'uyu munsi ejo habaye intambara, babarashe na drone, barasabana bari mu ishuri, barahunga.
The Great Lakes region has seen its share of darkness, but its people continue to strive for a brighter future. Beyond politics and conflict lies a shared desire for peace, stability, and prosperity.
Basi ni kuchunga, basi Mwenyezi Mungu ndio anajua vyote. Sasa ni kuchunga, unaenda omba, unafanya nini, unasema Mungu ndio anajua kama tutaelekeza wapi au kama tu.
Icyo nifuza nuko leta yacu ya Kongo yatanga amahoro kuri twebwe.
Do you believe that the peace and peaceful solution of what's happened here is still possible?
It's possible, and this is what we have been saying so far. All those things had nothing to do unless we Congolese will say we need to sit together, discuss, identify our problems, and then address all those problems, and then everything is done.
Mais le dialogue sera engagé pour détecter le véritable problème, quelles sont les réclamations, quels sont les problèmes de fond, afin de trouver une solution durable.
This is the reality of Eastern DRC, a land of deep history, rich culture, and extraordinary resilience. Behind the valuable resources and power industries around the world, there is a harsh reality: communities trapped in conflict, families forced from their homes, and people fighting for peace despite the hardship. But in the challenges, there is a hope, a new generation determined to reclaim the future, voices demanding justice, and the spirit that refused to be broken. The story of Eastern Congo is far from over. It's still being written. The question remains, will the world listen?